On Netflix, I watched the newly added Extinction, starring Michael Peña. This is a rare starring role for a guy who really steals the show in just about anything he so appears. So this came out 2018 and was actually going to have a theatrical run, but got shelved, I think it was by Universal, possibly because the story blows, there's too many tropes, and the special effects are lackluster. Now, if that's not enough for you, let me continue. So, this set in some kind of future. There's, people seem to have their universal health care and all that shit ducks in line, right? Michael Peña has a wife, Lizzy Caplan. They got 2 girls. For some weird reason, one girl's obsessed with the elevator. And Michael Peña's got these weird visions of the future, and it's like, hey, there's going to be like some kind of attack, there's an invasion, certain things happen, something doesn't seem right, but there's too much being stated in this film about, hey, life's the way it is until you find out the truth, and it's like, okay, well, if there's an attack, then that's not the case. We know that you're showing your hands here before the cards are dealt. You got them in the shooter still, and now you're telling me this shit that's supposed to go down. I hate these movies that play like, hey, we got smart sci-fi here, but there's visions, there's the voiceover trying to guide us, too much going on, just a lot of cutting to visions because shit got boring, and the family is crap, and the daughters are stupid. One kid is like, hey, I've got to get my monkey. Everywhere she goes, she has to get this pet monkey. Why the hell is one of them into the elevator? It doesn't make sense. Well, at work, the guy in charge says, hey, maybe you should go see this therapist if you're having trouble sleeping. It's like, okay, fine. And the next thing you know, there's this alien invasion. And their apartment complex is getting lit ablaze. They run across a white family. And you're like, you just know that they're there to show you how ruthless this alien invader force is. And you got these guys dressed up like cheap-ass, rubbery, wannabe predators. And that does a disservice to Stan Winston's Predator, honestly, to even mention it like that. They've got guns with biometric sensors, and Michael Peña's like, it's not too different from our technology. Maybe I can rewire this, and so he gets the gun going, and he's shooting them, and retaliatory. It's working out for him. You also kind of get this idea that, hey, if there was an invading force, and there were a few people who had some AK-47s or so, it appeared, or AR-15s, it kind of makes for a liberal nightmare. Invading force, you don't have an armed citizenry, so now what are you going to do? You just get rolled, right? Michael Peña and his team, family, they get into the sewers. They're making their way downtown, walking. In fact, they come across the guy that they beat up earlier and took the gun from, and he punches into his face mask and stuff, and there's a person in there, and the guy speaks English, and it's like, hey, what's going on here? And it's like, all right, I'll explain stuff later or whatever. Here, go. Your wife's dying. We got to take her to your place of work or whatever, because they've got fortress stuff underground. But anyways, they have munitions and shit. They're like, hey, who's this guy? He's one of the invaders. Hey, no, wait, I can save her temporarily. Hold on, let me show you something. Digs around in Lizzy Caplan, and there's wires and circuitry in there. And it's like, wait, what's going on? What is that? Oh, you don't know what you are? Yeah, turns out Michael Peña, Lizzy Caplan, spoilers, they're androids. And now we see that the visions he was having were actually memories that didn't get fully deleted. Dunk. What a great quinky dink, right? So he was actually remembering the attack the humans had on the androids, and evidently the androids won and got the humans off of Earth and to Mars. And these humans now, it was like, that was my grandfather's conflict. I've never been to Earth. We didn't even know if we could breathe here. So we came up with these shitty suits. It's like they went out of their way to make them think they were space aliens. which I guess he's born on Mars, so I guess he's a Martian, right? Some of this almost sounds like a good idea in a short film. In execution, where the CGI is obvious, where the green screen's evidently there, maybe it's hard to overlook a lot of that. I don't rag on Michael Peña here. I think that he does an okay job with what material there is, but there's so much shit. There's a lot of turn the corner, you have to duck because some guy's swinging at you. Oh, hey, you scared us. Like I said, the girl having to carry around the damn monkey. That right pissed me off. Don't insult my intelligence here. Anything that... Can Netflix pick up something that doesn't blow? Like, if it's a Netflix original film, guess what? It wasn't good enough to get in theaters. That seems to be the case, doesn't it? You got the kid freezing in fear when the flying ship puts the light on her and stuff. Just so much crap. So now we learn that his boss at the job never had his memory wiped. Some of them chose not to have their memories wiped so that they could remember this in the events in case something should happen in the future. So you're telling me that Michael Peña had kind of sort of fallen in love with another android, Lizzy Caplan, and they adopted android kids. All of them decide to have their memories wiped, and now they perpetually live in what? It's not going to school season? No one has perceived the passage of time here and thought, hey, it's a little odd that I'm still 10 years old. You're programming the kids to act really annoying. Is that how this works? So they flee the city and they go off into the mountains in the subway that they were in. The tracks give way and blow up. And so they talk about, maybe someday they'll come out and see what happens. I wouldn't exactly say it's setting itself up for a sequel. I mean, it was fairly lame to begin with. There wasn't a great deal of character development. Like I said, not thrilling. The plot twists are presented too early to make you think there's going to be a plot twist, which doesn't help the case for the plot twist. And then the more you think about it, it just raises more questions. Shit. I give Extinction 2 out of 4 stars.